Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Xbox Life episode 441. I am Brun, BJ Swick 33, and this is episode 441. Welcome back for an episode, and that is to be targeted with my guest this week, which is Kyle, also known as Moronic Cow. So,
It's good to be back.
yes,
It feels good.
yeah, I took the executive decision to fire Mark and fire Rob since I was the original creator of this Xbox Life, and I just brought Kyle back. I mean, that's how things work when you're
That is true. You're bringing up some memories because you did start this Xbox Life, and I guess it's a better time than never. I don't know if you can see this shirt.
you
I
gotta
like
you gotta go
I'm
up
on a
higher.
del I'm on a delay, but
There you go.
yeah, can you see that okay? So
Yep.
this is the OG, right? I'm in
Yes.
there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That's me, and here's Brun, Mark, and Presar. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um I figured I had to wear the shirt for the occasion. You can probably tell it's a bit faded,
Yeah.
so I've worn it quite a few times, but figured I had to give some of this Xbox Life love to my past crew.
Yeah.
So
That is hilarious. I like. I saw that when you were sitting down. I was like, "Hey, I like the shirt." You're like, "Oh, I was trying to hide that for a minute." But
yep, yep, but it's okay. It's a good plug, right? And it's
yes.
a great undershirt. So if you're still selling these, like
No,
they're quite
we shut that
good.
off. So we just we don't have any we don't sell any items anymore. We just hit with Patreon and we hit with donations since we started streaming on Twitch, and we also use Amazon and stuff like that. So that's kind of how people can support the show. And people that watch the show, we definitely do get some support. So it's really nice. But we
It's good.
have a lot of funny things to talk about because it's been a while since you've been on here, and so
I'm ready.
yeah, we'll
All right.
we'll start going over stuff. Um,
Okay.
but we are a day behind. I wasn't able to record yesterday. Wing was going to take over with yourself and Presar. You guys, all three of you, were going to record, but then Mark's hard drive crashed in his computer, so he lost it. He is pretty much out for like a week and a half right now, based on what we're thinking. And then, of course, since we pushed, family comes first in this Xbox Life. And Rob and his son are out doing things, so that comes first. So that leaves you and myself, um, which is fine. So we mentioned
I'm
last week
I'm
that we were
happy to
gonna,
fill in.
yeah, we were gonna have you back. But um, so how are you? How's everything going?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm playing a lot of Xbox, which is good, so I got plenty to talk about. And life is good. Can't complain at all. I don't know. I was wondering pre-show if you wanted me to go through like the 2 years of games that I've missed and like what you've been playing. I got a list prepared if you need me to just rattle off like I don't know, probably 200 games. I'm prepared to do that. Like
uh,
it won't hurt my feelings if you say no, but
well,
uh,
well, maybe I'll ask you like I'll have some questions for you, but real quick for so Mark and Rob will be back next week. Mark will be out a couple weeks. Um, we mentioned you last week for the people. There's some people that's obviously listened since you were on here. Like you said, you showed a shirt. There was four of us in this Xbox Life. It
there
still
was,
is. You're
yeah.
still part of it. I mean, you're still this Xbox Life. Um,
I'm extended family at this point.
yes,
Maybe
yes,
that
yeah,
crazy uncle.
yeah. There you go. And you went and started up another show with. We were trying to talk about this last week. It was Ravioli Capone,
Yep,
right?
Franco.
Yep.
Hmm.
And who else was there?
Eric,
Elite Dog,
Elite E Dog 420. Yep,
420 at the time. Yep. And
yep,
you, along with this Xbox Life, were doing a second podcast, which was all about achievements
yep,
and collecting achievements, and that was Achievement Hounds.
yep.
Now, I asked
Rest in
Mark
peace.
last week where does that stand? Where does that show stand right now? Where does that
It's a
community?
good question. The community, man, it's been tough. As we've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing it for much longer now since I've taken a little bit of a break. But I mean, we go back before this Xbox Life, right, with
Right.
Xbox Podcast, and
Hmm.
so I started, to date myself as a senior in high school when we started the show, and now I'm 3 years into the industry, and that's a long time. So, um, Achievement Hounds is officially on hold. I really, it's been something that I want to bring back.
Hmm.
It's every now and then I'll get a message from some person, maybe that has been a part of our forums in the past, or just randomly out of the blue, just like, hey, I really want you guys to bring your show back. Like, when is there any plans at all? And there's obviously an interest of mine as I've continued to play games, continued to score points. I think just with 3 different time zones, everyone's working now. Like I was the least common denominator. I had the open schedules, so in this is a perfect example. Like, everyone's schedules is just crazy,
Yeah.
and so to have that staying power is like really needs to be applauded, because it's really hard to plan a show, and especially things come up last minute. You have your set days, your Sundays or your Saturdays or
Mhm.
your Tuesdays or whatever works for you, but 3 different time zones. Franco was working graveyard, and as soon as I started working, my time became compacted, so it was just tough to get everyone on board. But I was actually talking to one of our guest hosts, and the other day, before even Wing had messaged me about coming on the show, and he wants to bring something back. So who knows? Stay tuned. I haven't talked to Franco yet, so if he's watching the show, this is a surprise. But we'll see if we can get something put back together, because it is a lot of fun to. I don't necessarily have a lot of people that I talk to on a regular basis to go into depth as far as games go. And with it at Xbox, man, there's plenty to talk about, let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So we'll see,
Yeah.
is the short answer.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you're obviously still playing games. You're still racking up points. Are you streaming any of your gameplay with the amount of time that you're playing and putting time in there? You might as well start streaming it. You could stream under Achievement Hounds
Right.
there, because we were talking before. It's like I asked you, have you been on the show since we've been on Twitch? And you're like, no, because the only time we've ever tried to do a video one was when when Uvu was out. We tried to do one, and it was hilarious because we couldn't stop
It was
laughing at each
awful. It
other.
was
And
it
that
was it
was
was probably one of our worst podcasts.
yeah. And what was it? That was under Xbox Podcast, wasn't it? That wasn't
Yeah, I think
TXL.
I think no.
It
Well, no, yeah, no. That was Xbox podcast.
was toward the
Because
end, right?
my favorite, yeah, it was one of the last, for good reason. It was probably it was one of the last ones.
Yeah.
Um, but the just to harp on that show a bit, because it does bring back memories. My favorite memory was obviously because we, let alone seeing pictures of each other, but for so long we never really interacted
Right.
with photos. And so it was just really weird to put a face
Mm-hmm.
to a video. And so we were having a lot of fun with that. We had no idea what to do with our hands. I still don't. I'm looking around. I have no idea where to look. I've got a face and a voice for radio. But um, the the funny thing about that, my favorite part was when Wing gets up, right? Because you don't, like, sometimes we'll, like, very candidly ask a question and then we just hear no response whatsoever.
Right.
And we just eventually come to realize that that person's gone. Well, here comes video, and Wing just like gets up from his computer and leaves, and we just watch him do that. And you sat there and we're like, nope, nope, we're gonna wait. We're just gonna wait for him to come back, and we're gonna see. And it was probably dead air for at least a minute, and then Wing comes back, puts his headset back on, and then we're like, oh, hey, nice of you to join us.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yep, that to me, it's still very clear in my memory. That was amazing. But overall, we weren't ready for video, so I'm glad to see that you've broken through that barrier.
Yeah. And it's funny, some of the funnest things, and we've talked about it before. It's been a really long time, but you guys, Xbox podcast, you had a third host that didn't work out. So then I remember listening because
Few
I was a
episodes, yeah.
Battlefield podcast listener with
Yep.
Chalk One, and Darkness 429. That's where if you hear of Darkness, and then a person I won't mention anymore. Um, but so, and they, I remember saying, oh, if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to do this, then they're looking for people for an Xbox, and I'm like, hey, I'll do that. And I remember you're the first one I talked to, and
Yeah, like a quasi interview. Yeah,
yeah, it
this
was
is
like an
weird.
interview,
Yeah.
and of course Mark was late. Mark was late, and I
Yep.
remember him popping on and me going, "It is about time you guys show up," and that was my first words to Mark.
It's
Was
true.
like,
Yeah.
"It's about time you showed up." And Mark's even said, he goes, "That from then," he goes, "I knew it. That was it. You're the one." So, um, but
That
between that
was
and one of my other favorite memories was the first time you guys let me start the show, and this was when it was audio only. So we would all queue up 3, 2, 1, and then I was like, "Welcome," and I just start blasting off like these words that obviously we weren't allowed to have in our
we're a
podcast.
clean we're a clean show.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
a clean
We're
show.
yeah.
Still are. We
In
still
case
are.
yeah. Yeah.
But I was like, "Welcome all you blah blah blah," and you guys just start
Fill
rolling.
in
I'm
the
like, "Okay,
blanks.
okay, I'm good." So
Oh man, we edited that one out pretty quickly, so
yeah,
that's yeah,
but
that's funny.
oh yeah. So we'll have to hold you to you know to Achievement Hounds coming back. We'll look for the rebirth of Achievement Hounds.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
see in some form or fashion. I mean,
I'll tell
we'll
you,
see.
one thing that'll help you. You stream it, and even if you don't want to stream it, because in my mind, I think our audio still does way better than our video. It's hard, like you said, it's hard to get people on there. We got it's only 7 o'clock. It's dinner time on West Coast. Soul Assassin hasn't been able to listen to us for a while because,
Yeah,
he's or see us live or stuff. I mean, he may listen to the show through MP3, but our MP3s and stuff still do the best. And one
sure.
thing I remember about your show that I had trouble with was when it was 3 hours long.
Yeah,
Because,
we had
that's
trouble
like,
with it too.
that's like 2.5 trips to work for me. It's like,
Yeah,
it's have an hour each way. You guys cut that down to under an hour, for your achievements and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you not only will have great quality for the time frame, but it'll also keep you guys a little bit sane. Um, More than maybe what you guys were
yeah.
doing to yourself, because you guys were putting your guys' self through a lot to do that. Not only to do that, but also to mix it and to fix the audio. Now Rob does our audio, but we take it from Twitch. So
Right.
we just get a single MP3 and do it that way. And there's other things like Zencaster and things like that are out now that'll help as far as that. But the one thing I love about our show is it's like a raw show. We no longer cut. We no longer edit. Like Rob will take this audio that even you and I right now, he'll take it and he'll kind of clean up some dead spots or stuff like that. But there's no like cutting or anything, because if you remember Xbox podcast, we would record for an hour and it would take an hour per 30. It would take double the time to do it because we always had to put in commercials and stuff like that. And we don't do commercials or anything now. Like I said, I'll mention Patreon and stuff here in a little bit, um but we don't do that. And I like that format. And I like that we're a family show and we're older gamers and stuff. And the only thing we have a problem with right now is your Texas A&M flag in the background.
What's wrong with the
I'm just
flag?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
What's wrong with the flag?
I'm just kidding. I
I
need
mean,
to
we
hang.
have enough. We get enough punishment as it is. So you know.
Yeah, I need to hang my high state flag behind me. So, but
It is funny that it worked out that way. I was trying to figure out, like, I'm in my room and I'm just trying to figure out what a good position. I've never had to worry about this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
for all you know, there could have been boxes everywhere while we were recording or just video game paraphernalia. But no, this works out pretty good.
Yeah,
The
well, I mean,
Texana flag behind me.
I still got half my stuff packed from our move, so it's behind me on the floor. But I usually like to keep mine dark, so
Yeah, I guess I could have turned the light off. See, I'm not a professional.
it
So
doesn't matter. The wing leaves, the other guys leave their lights on. I like to do it in darkness, but hide my face a little bit. Um, so, but
that's fair.
now, so you're talking about the 200 games, so I guess we better start going through
Yeah,
them
if
now.
you want to if you want to be here all night, I can talk about it. We surely don't have to talk about every one of them, but that was more of a joke. So if you
Yeah,
lost anybody on the stream, this is not going to be a 3-hour show. I
yeah.
don't expect that. But I will say, if Achievement Hounds do make a return, you're absolutely correct. Like, having those 1-hour shows, that's a good point, because
Mhm.
I think we had one that went up to 5 hours one time. It's just like, what are we doing? Like,
Oh,
that back then, I had all the time in the world, so it didn't really matter. But now, yeah, 5 hours. That's never gonna happen. I don't have 5 hours anymore, so I'm lucky to have an hour. But anyways, so
so
I don't know.
like
I mean,
mine real quick is like I played Battlefield 1 and I played Battlefield 1 on PC. So I played on both Xbox and Battlefield. But what I was going to ask you is like of your recent games, whatever I want to know those like, you probably played Mass Effect. You're a Mass Effect fan, weren't you? You weren't a Mass
I
Effect
mean,
fan at all? You were the original
no,
ones.
I was,
Okay.
I just haven't played it.
Okay, you haven't
Priorities
played the new
change
one?
when you're
I
in
know.
gamers competitions.
Okay.
It's nasty. It's
So I
not
want to know what are some of those easy little gamer score. What are you importing for these gamer scores?
Gosh. So, I mean, I'll give you my routine. And in case you don't know, there's a great site called True Achievements. And we're in a competition. Franco, myself, and a couple of our listeners, old listeners, we got together. Um, and still under the guise of the Achievement Hounds podcast, at least that's the name. I couldn't come up with a better one, so that's what we went with. Um, the tournament started in January, like the second week of January, and here we are, well into June, about July, and it's a weekly rolling competition. So you've got to put up X number of points, and the top and the bottom, whatever teams get eliminated. The idea is that the tournament goes from the beginning of the year, and then there's one team left standing at the end of the year.
Okay.
So we're midway through. As it started, there was like 400 teams that started off, and we're down to, I think, 50 something now. So there's only 4 teams supposed to be eliminated this week. So it's a little stressful, right? I mean, you can't have a bad week, or you can't have like, not everybody. Everyone needs to score. So
Right.
what are some of the games that get me there? Well, unfortunately, is those gosh darn ACA Neo Geo games. I don't know if you played any of those, but
No.
those things are like gold mine for easy points. At least some of them. You, the only problem is, and I hate to admit it, but they're $8 a piece. So, there's probably about 15, 17, 18 of them out there now. I mean, there's a lot. There and all these achievement junkies are just jumping right in. So, I played that. I've played a lot of those. Unfortunately, they're bad games. They don't age very well, but they're easy points. So that's
Right.
all that matters. Um, a lot of id stuff. We just got done with unless you're listening to this literally right this second. Um, we've got a lot of id games on sale. I don't know if you've played around with those at all, but A lot of good gamer score there. I think I picked up like 7 or 8 games. They're all like 250, $3. So if you're looking for gamer score, it at Xbox is the truth. A lot of those games are really easy. So it's, I've just wrapped up. I've got one more actually. I've been playing a lot of point and click stuff. So, just a guide right in front of you and just, click on this door, or solve this puzzle, like mindless gaming, right? What I
All
do
right.
for points is just unrealistic. Like it's just not, it's sad sometimes. But, you know, I'm at over 520,000 gamer score. So, I've got
Yeah.
that going for me, which is nice. Um, but
Has it ruined gaming for you?
it's just a different type of gaming, I'd say. Like I don't in some aspects I don't like the path that I've chosen
Okay.
because the like I haven't played. Here's all the games that I haven't played. Ask me about any AAA title. I have actually played a little Battlefield 1, so there is
Okay.
that, but not much. I haven't played like Overwatch. I never got into Rocket League. I do own it though.
Hmm.
Mass Effect, that was a big pass.
Halo Wars 2?
I did buy that. I was actually disappointed with it.
Hmm.
I didn't play much of the multiplayer, but I beat the single player, and it was for a game
Titanfall?
that I was really excited about. What's that?
Yeah. Titanfall?
The newest one?
Yeah.
I actually have a sealed copy right here of Titanfall 2. I've not broken the cellophane yet. One of those GameFly deals gone wrong. Did I mention I have a problem?
Yeah.
Oh.
A little bit. Like, do you have EA Pass? Because I think Titanfall 2's on there. You could probably give that to a buddy.
Yeah, I do have EA Pass.
Yes.
It turns out like the digital age has just completely took me over. So, um, I can't tell you a game that I've put into my Xbox that's been a disc. So I don't know where you stand on that,
I'm
but
100% digital.
yeah, I mean it's just way too easy to pass up, right?
Yeah.
So, um,
So, personal question. You're not married, correct?
nope,
Not You're
no,
not
I'm not.
engaged or
No, I do have a girlfriend,
okay,
but
okay.
have not crossed that bridge yet.
Okay.
So.
So you're getting it in why you can't, you're getting in your high spending for gamer score out of the way now because
All
that
right,
that
so
will
that's
stop, right?
that's that's where you're going with that one.
Gaming doesn't stop now. So like I've been married for 12 years and gaming hasn't stopped for me, but I will say that man, I can sometimes only get like 3 hours a weekend. So I pick and choose my games. I don't like a massive RPGs or anything. I like to have quick games. That's why I get stuck with Battlefield all the time because I can pop in
Right,
and play. Overwatch is a huge one. I love Overwatch. You can pop
right.
in and play. Um, but I definitely can't spend $8 per game just to hey honey, I want to get this gamer score. She would murder me. So actually, when
Yeah.
I'm done with this, because my you and my wife are friends on Facebook, um,
Yep.
I'll tell her that you said I need to go buy all these $8 games
Oh,
for Gamerscore, and I'm pretty sure you'll hear about
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's drama in my life that I don't need. No, I mean there is not the level of visibility that to that level. I try to keep, I haven't I've gone overboard, but there's like different levels of going overboard, I feel. And she knows I have a problem because we have a hobby together that we like to play board games,
Yeah,
and
okay.
I buy as many or more board games than I do video games at this point. So,
Hmm.
um, it's yeah. So she knows what she's getting herself into, but she's been a good sport about it. I try to front load all my gaming. So like Sunday, I'll try to knock out. These games only take 2 to 3 hours, so try to knock out as much as I can up front, and then kind of slow burn throughout the week. But I've played much more games and amount of games. I'd say active time on Xbox. I probably average maybe 5 or 6, 7, maybe 7 hours a week. But
Hmm.
um, So not a lot. I'm maximizing my time, I feel, for my points.
Okay.
So
So you're saying four teams are getting eliminated this week, which means you have to stay out of the bottom four because it's the
right.
bottom four that are getting eliminated. Are you guys above the bottom four right now?
Yeah, you can't really read into. Let me check, but you can't really read into where the standings are now because what I've noticed is a lot of people procrastinate to the very end, and the cutoff period is Sunday at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Central.
Right.
So you've got all night Saturday to binge if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're in position 30. We've got 3,000 TA as a group. Um, the where we need to be at to be safe is probably about 20,000 TA. Which roughly translates to maybe 14, 15,000 gamer score per person. So we need to average about $3,000 a piece.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
A week.
a week.
A
Yeah,
week.
it's
Oh my
it's it's
gosh.
getting a little crazy. Last year we were eliminated a couple weeks ago, but there's more teams this year, so we were eliminated on the second to last, or the last week where they eliminated more than just two teams. I think next week we'll get to the point where they just take off two teams a week until December 20th
Right.
or whatever it is,
Yeah,
and then
because
they'll crown the champion.
yeah, I can only imagine that it gets more difficult longer the year goes. No, I mean,
Yeah, no, I
okay,
mean
because
it.
you're
Yeah,
gonna run out of games eventually. Well, okay, so it's not games; it's more gamer score. So, if you're looking at a game that has 1,000 gamer score and you've knocked out 500 of it this week, you could look at and say, okay, I'm gonna knock the other 500 out for next week. But obviously, there's these achievements where if it's going to cost you an hour of gameplay to get one achievement, unless it's a 50 pointer or a 100 pointer, I mean, it's really not worth it at that point.
right. Yeah, you're right. And there's definitely a cost benefit analysis in general, and then there's also like your situation. Like I have 2 hours to play, so am I gonna play this really crappy soccer game and try to get 500 points, or do I play Mass Effect for 2 hours and get 10 points, maybe, depending on where you're at. So that's the decision that I have to make, and what I've told or what I've made a commitment in January is that I'm going to play the crappy soccer game for 2 hours and get 500 points.
Yeah.
Um, now, eventually we will get eliminated. Luckily, we have enough bonuses saved up that will probably make it into August, but eventually we'll get eliminated, and then that's where I kind of lick my wounds and return to a quasi normal life of playing games that people have heard of,
Yeah.
instead of things that people haven't heard of.
So the team that's like in first, the score, the thing starts at 0 again every week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, congrats, you got first place. That means you just wasted
Right.
X score above the rest. So, I mean, yeah, there's no it's a brutal tournament
Yeah.
because you
It's
don't get any. You don't get. I think you might get a 2,000 TA little bonus that you can use at any point in time if you come in first, but it's probably not worth it in the
yeah.
grand scheme of things.
You almost want to like edge that line of elimination because that means you're not burning as much score as everybody else. And then when it gets toward the end, then you're just like, oh, remember that time you had 30,000 and we only had 15 for like
Right.
4 weeks in a row? Well, now we're pumping on that extra 15,000 just for this week.
Right. And there are teams out there that do what we like to call preloading. So they'll play the Mass Effects or the longer games and set up like easiest example is, when you beat Mass Effect, you normally get like achievements for beating a game, or it
Right.
doesn't have to be Mass Effect or anything. They'll save that last checkpoint right before that, the 10-minute boss battle, and
Yeah.
then they've got all the difficulties lined up. So in 10 minutes of play, they've actually just unlocked 4 achievements for 75 points, and they're worth 1,000 TA or something like that, because beating
Gotcha.
Mass Effect on expert is super rare. So there's going to be a lot of that coming out, and I haven't done a lot of that. I've got a few just for emergency situations. But yeah, it's I'm proud that we've made it this far. 500 teams down to 50. It's been fun.
Yeah. All right.
And
So
luckily,
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, luckily, I mean, I can only think of a couple games that I missed out on. Mass Effect being the big one, but I read some kind of the reviews weren't so good on it, so I don't necessarily feel that I'm missing out to a degree on some of the big games. So by the end of the year, there will be a lot more, and I'm really excited for Cuphead. I don't know if you share the same enthusiasm, but
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. Definitely play it. So,
but that one will be my game.
well, the good news is for this intervention. I mean, for this podcast, you've already admitted that you have a problem, and that is the first step.
Right.
Is
The
admitting that you
problem
have.
is doing something about, like, that's where I stall, is like I know I have a problem. And in fact, I just got a Kickstarter email for a board game that I kickstarted.
Huh.
And so, yeah, I'm constantly reminded that I have a problem, but I refuse to do anything about it,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Oh, the gaming is not a problem, but like it's funny. I don't even know what my score is now. I think we looked it up a little bit ago, or a couple episodes ago, and I still forget what mine is. And I see you typing, so you're looking
Yeah.
it up. um,
Yeah, I'm seeing what I can do for you. 48,620.
yeah, so I'm almost at 50,000. So, but the
Very
funny thing
close.
is I'm playing Forza Horizon 3,
It's three, yeah.
and
330.
yeah, and the thing is like four of those are rare achievements, and I got them all within playing the new Hot Wheels DLC.
I've heard
And
really good things about that.
yeah, and I got it in the first hour. Like, so four of those achievements, I mean, so I think we're like back to back to back to back. And they're all I get the rare achievement sound and everything like that. So if those are worth more TA points for you, there's a little hint.
Well, that's interesting. I'm just looking at the achievements right now, and so I believe if it's rare, I forget if it's 10% or 25% of the people that have played that game,
10.
you get
Yeah.
that 10%.
Hmm.
So on TA, it's not as rare because, like you said, it's a bit easier. But I think the trick is co-op.
Right.
Uh, e- um, like these are worth 2.0, so or about 2.0 ratio, so 26%. So there's a little bit of a difference, and you'll notice that True Achievements does a nice job on their games to show you the percentage of people unlocked on Xbox and the percentage of people on TA. And it's normally higher because if you're going to sign up for a website driven for achievements, you're probably more apt to go after some of the harder stuff. So, but yeah, that would be a good one to knock out and give me an excuse to buy and play. And um, I think it's a play anywhere title, right?
I think so.
So I'm recording this on my brand new Surface Pro, and this is a free shout out for anyone considering Surface Pros. The new one was just released, and it's amazing. So
I just signed into True Achievements probably for the last 2 years.
hold on. Oh man, I had a cached version of it. I think it said maybe you had already signed in.
I just signed in. It's
Last visited November 9th, 2014. So
so
almost 3-year anniversary of going to True Achievements,
yeah, I have
or not going to
38
True Achievements.
38 messages. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I just
I,
logged in
I've
because like I wanted to see if their sites even changed because it's been such a long time.
yeah. They've been doing a good job. They host a lot of good contests, and recently, this is an interesting one for you. I haven't done it, but it sounded really cool. The Alphabet Challenge. So the idea is you have to unlock an achievement. The first letter starts in alphabetical order. So to start, you have to unlock an achievement that starts with an A, and then a
Oh,
B, and then a C, and you get all the way to Z. And you can unlock achievements, in your free time, but you won't trigger the next letter until you unlock an achievement that starts with a B or
That's
a
kind of cool.
whatever. And so
Yeah.
people have completed that challenge from what I've seen in a very quick amount of time.
Oh,
And it's very interesting to see, like, given a contest. I remember when contests are tricky because you never know how. Don't make a contest that you have no idea when it's going to end. And I remember on Achievement Hounds, when that was still around, I hosted a potentially endless bean dive challenge. And so what that was you had to start a game every day. And the idea was, I've got piles of games, like you can't see them, but they're actually downstairs, but piles of games digitally and physically that I've yet to open. Like Titanfall was a great example. Haven't opened it, never played it. And so impetus to put the disc in the Xbox, or boot it up for the first time, get an achievement in it, and that will register as you've played it. You've associated it with your card.
right.
Well, I think that's 4 years ago now, and it's still going.
Wow.
There are people out there for this contest that have started a game a day for 4 years.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
That's crazy.
But I don't have a problem.
No. Keep telling yourself that. No, but I mean, it's like going back to like I, you routed off my gamer score. Forza, I got those achievements, and I couldn't tell you like when the last time I got an achievement. The only reason why I knew they were achievements is because of the special sound. Because typically, the normal thing could be people signing in, people signing off, getting messages. Like, I'm getting hit with those things all the time. To where I just, didn't pay attention to it. And then when the Xbox One came out, I actually didn't get into the Xbox One until the first year, similar to the 360. I was on PC a lot more, but with gaming, like I said, my time's like just super limited, and you and I are both developers. We write web applications. So, it's the easiest way I explained it to people.
Right.
You've been doing it for 2 years, you said, right?
My 3rd year work anniversary was just 2 weeks ago. So I've been in the industry for 3 years.
Yeah. So I did my current position as 7 years, and the one before that was 8. So I've been a developer for 15 years now, believe it or not. But it's we do those things, and sometimes we do side jobs, sometimes we don't. We have to constantly learn. We were talking about this off the air. It's like if we don't keep up with technology, we get left behind. So what happens then is, if a job's up for grabs, I have 15 years. Like, yes, I have the experience, but if they're looking for this newer technology, you can roll right in and steamroll me, and I just can't have anybody do that. So it's like I always have to keep up with it. So
but
yeah, very limited time. It's really interesting because it's been such a long time since we've chat with each other, and then we're having you on here. I wanted to hear about Achievement Hounds and stuff, but it's super interesting to hear like your week by week thing, or what you do as far as
what I subject myself to.
Well, I mean, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and sometimes, with myself, and I'm assuming you're the same, saying that we're in the same business, is our minds go 100 miles an hour, and sometimes we just have to do the craziest things to get it to stop. Like, for me to stop thinking about code and stuff like that. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning and I woke up out of my sleep, and I think I was dreaming about coding Firebase cloud functions. If anybody wants to go look that up, go for it. Because what I was doing last night was writing Firebase cloud functions, and I had this feeling or this dream that I just couldn't get this one thing to work. So it's stuff like that, but like to get me to stop doing that, it's like I got to read Twitter, or it's like I have to do something to make my head stop going in that cycle of wanting to solve a problem.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I'm same brained as you, right? So I
yeah,
have the same struggles. But Twitter is a great release for me too. Just I don't like at first I was a little off, like I don't know, when Moments came out, I was really unsure where that was, if I was gonna like it or not. I didn't like it, but oh my goodness, now I live for Twitter Moments. Some of those are so great, and it's a great just like temporary like you said, just like trying to get complete focus shifted and like relax a little bit.
yeah,
It's a good like transition way in at work or at home or wherever. I'm constantly checking Twitter. In
yeah.
fact, I don't know who won the speaking of Twitter, I get my news through Twitter, so who won the NBA MVP, do you know?
No, I do not. Um,
Okay.
but I know that's where I get most of my news as well. Um, but my thing is in our environment here in the United States with politics, I can't stand it. I can't take it. So a
it's
lot of times
it's a
it's, oh man, I'll tell you what, it's just in a bad spot. But um, yeah. So well, thank you on the input on your day to day crazy gaming.
Sure.
Um,
Hopefully one person out there found it interesting. I don't know.
oh, I'm
And
sure.
if I inspired anyone to go get achievements, then yeah.
Yeah.
I told myself I haven't yet, but I want to do one of those. I hit 500,000 I think back in April, and I wanted to get one of those custom controllers like from the design lab and put the
Hmm.
date and hitting 500K. Like 500K, that's a lot of work, you know.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. So
So
who and on Achievement Hounds, you guys had, obviously you're yourself. I think all three of you are over 500,000 um
yep.
elite and stuff. And then you guys also had, who were some of the big names you guys had on your show? Um I want to say like Stoff J was one. Did you have what's his
Yeah.
name in there?
Stallion,
Yeah.
no. We never got Stallion. Stop J was up there, or is up there, I should say. I'm trying to think if we had anyone that had a like Stop J's. He's not on True Achievements, but he's probably got 700, maybe 800,000 at this point. It would be my guess. I haven't honestly kept up with him too much. We kind of our two big interviews were Mike Ybarra, which is the current vice president of um, social at Xbox, right? Like
Yep.
Xbox
Yep.
social. So he comes up a lot, and that was great talking with him. And then Ken Lobb from the GoldenEye era, we got to talk with him for a little bit, so that was pretty cool. But
And of course
so
on Xbox podcast we got what was the game with the driver? What
yeah,
was
the
it? Wheelman.
Wheelman,
Oh my
man,
gosh.
internet fame, that unnamed Xbox podcast that got the vice president of what developer? What was their developer? I can't remember, to say that the PS4 was hell to code on, or something like
The
that,
PS3. It was
or PS3. Yeah.
yeah, it was due to 690,000 is what Stuff J has, it looks like.
Oh, all
But
right. So
yeah, I remember them asking you, or asking, it's like, hey, he's like, oh, it's a pain in the butt or something like that.
yeah,
I remember being at work and you guys like
yeah.
emailing back and forth. They're like, we just got picked up on, this website. We just got picked up on this website. We just got picked up on this website. And I'm like, what is going on? And I
Yeah.
look and
Yeah.
like all of our stuff freaking was spiking out the top, like all of our hits and, you know, with our host and everything like that, they weren't happy.
Right.
um,
Yeah, that day was that was a good day, but it could have been better. And I'm not bitter about this, but Kotaku, and I've forgiven them, and I still read them on a daily basis, but they did not cite us as the source, and I
oh
was,
yeah, yeah, I remember that.
yeah, that still rubs me the wrong way, because it could have been even better, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I've moved on, clearly.
All right. Well, let me move on past what we've been playing real quick and hit our normal things of if you'd like to become a patron of the show, go to thisxboxlife.com/Patreon and become a patron of the show. Or you go to thisxboxlife.com/donate and do a one-time donation. Right now, is before we do community, we usually do roundtable, and I have just a couple things I was going to ask you because
Okay.
obviously E3 and stuff was there. But before we do that, did you see? Okay, just like our mainstream media here in the United States, they have who they would consider their favorite, their baby, their child, right? And then the people that they don't like, the rotten cousin. So you'll have the good stories for the one and the bad stories for the other.
Sure.
So Mark, and also mine in a little way. Like the main place I get my gaming news is IGN. I go to IGN.
Okay.
In my opinion, IGN is Sony favorite heavy. Like they heavily favorite Sony.
Yep.
And
That's
Nintendo
what I've
whenever
heard as well.
Nintendo decides to do something.
That
They'll
Super Nintendo, what?
yeah,
Crazy.
they'll report on Xbox stuff, but it seems like when they do talk about Xbox stuff, it's always spun in a negative way. So the article today, which Mr. Damon Hatfield, who I am a fan of, I like Damon Hatfield. I think he's a fantastic person in game media. He was just doing like IGN's 2-minute blurb that they usually do. I think Naomi Kyle usually does it.
Hmm.
But this one here was Microsoft to force Xbox One S 4K updates on you, regardless if you have a 4K TV or not. That's the article. That's what they're talking about. So you yourself,
Okay.
if you went and got an Xbox One X, and you did not have a 4K TV, you're going to have to download the 4K packs, regardless, and suck up all your space and your internet bandwidth, and you're not going to be able to do this. And so they're putting it off as a negative.
Right.
But if you watch E3 and you follow Xbox, you realize that they have a thing called super sampling. Now,
Right.
they say that the games will look better and run better in 1080p if you have a 1080p TV. And super sampling would be just like if you wanted to take an icon or if you wanted to make an icon of an image. Say that icon you wanted to make is 200 by 200. Would you take a 100 by 100 image and try to make it 200 by 200? No, you're going to get 1,000 by 1,000 or 1280 by 1280 image, and you're going to cram it down because you're going to take a high resolution image and shrink it down into the format you want. Now,
Right.
if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe this is correct. Super sampling is taking 4K and rendering it down to 1080p.
That's the way I understand it as well. Yeah.
So if you don't download the 4K update, you can't do the super sampling. So why is this a bad thing? Why are they spinning it off as a bad thing? Just gets me. And it's the one time where I've actually seen people coming out and saying the same thing that we've kind of been saying all along is, you guys just can't say nothing nice. And then the funny part is David Hatfield just so happened to be wearing the wrong T-shirt in today's 2-minute thing that he had. If you want to go and look at it, it's a PlayStation T-shirt. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like perfect timing to wear that shirt. But if you guys are seeing that article, do realize that you can't use the sampling or whatever they're calling it, super sampling or whatever they call it, without downloading the better packs now, or the better assets.
Right. Assets. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing is too is what happens if the next day you went out and got a 4K TV? I mean, you're gonna have to download it anyways. So, that's the one topic, the one thing I saw today that just kind of like triggered me a little bit. I was just like, okay, here's another thing. It's just something spun in the negative thing of this and for that or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you have a 4K TV?
I do not,
Okay.
but
Will
I
you be
wouldn't
getting an
care.
Xbox One S X. Sorry,
I
what
have
did
an
I miss?
S. I have an S. I would consider getting an X. I'm trying to wait to see if places are taking like I have an Xbox One original. And I won an Xbox One X from Telric.
Oh, nice.
Which you're familiar with. You know how they always do their come to our webinar and see what's new in Kendo UI and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I asked
Like
the number one
pull the stuff.
question. It was when they were
Oh,
showing the
nice.
Angular stuff, and I won the Xbox One S from them. Um,
Oh, nice.
so
Congrats.
I have that. So if I can get 150 off by turning in my original Xbox One, I will go buy an X. Because I will just take my S and give it to my kid. Take the one that
Right.
he's using, go get my money back, or go get money out of it, and I'll buy an X. And then that way, when I do get a 1080 or a 4K TV, I'm good to go because it is also a 4K Blu-ray player.
Yes.
Which if
But so is the S.
yes, true. So I'll have two of them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's one thing that Sony doesn't have when it comes to their PlayStation 4 Pro.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah.
plus they can't do native 4K. Theirs is the checkerboarding. Even though
Right. Yeah.
some of the games from E3, Assassin's Creed was also using checkerboarding. So they were showing that off as 4K content, which it is 4K content, but it's not native true 4K, which is the one thing that Microsoft has constantly said. And I think that is one of those things I'm not a fan of. Just tell us what it is. Don't try to dress it up. It's like saying
Sure.
console exclusive, console exclusive, console exclusive the whole time during E3. Like just tell me if it's exclusive or not. But
Yeah. There's been some perceived gamesmanship. Again, all my information from reading articles and Twitter, and so it's hard to tell these days what's right and what's wrong. But Bungie was getting totally doused by the whole 4K stuff with with all the marketing deals that they have with the PS4, and there was a lot of rumors that they were specifically withholding 4K content for the Xbox One X.
well, in 60,
Since
they're locking down at
right
30
and
frames a second.
right, and so it's like, well, can you do the 30? Like, can you do 60, or is it just because the PS4 Pro can only do 30, so you're not gonna bother, right? And so it's there's been some, and they're probably not the only ones, right? Like with a it, it it would be sad, honestly, if that's the case, that they're actually holding back to meet, make the experience even, based on how they how they line their pockets with
Yeah.
all the Sony stuff. But
Well,
um,
yeah, that's just
uh,
that's just something that when they came out and they said that our what engine is it that they're
whatever, right?
yeah, whatever the engine is that they're using for their physics engine. Sorry, for their physics engine. It's so complex that the PS4 Pro couldn't do it because of the CPU, not the GPU, the CPU. Well, the
Right.
CPU in
Too
there
many
and the Xbox
calculations.
One X is pretty much the same thing. So they're saying, well, the CPU and the Xbox One X can't do it either. And I, as a developer now, I'm not a gaming developer. They could be absolutely telling the truth, but I don't trust them as far as I can throw them now because
No.
they just rip off their consumer. And they are in the back pocket of Sony. And you can sit there and say, oh, it's Activision. I used to say it was Activision too, but once Bungie didn't stand up for consumers, it's Bungie. It's their fault now. But I fail to believe that the individuals who can record they recorded the code of an online multiplayer match in Halo that you could stick in the engine and replay from any vantage point, any second, even to the grenade. Like you could do it all. And they did that all on the 360. I fail to believe that they can't get a game to run at 60 frames a second on a console that is 25 times more powerful.
Right.
I am just completely dumbfounded. So to me, they're lying out through their teeth.
Well,
It's they are being paid
right.
basically not to do it.
Well, and the funny thing is that doesn't the game run on PC too? Like, that
Yes, and
breaks your
it's 60
argument.
it's going to be
Right.
60 frames a second
Right. Right. And so like, so what
or
is it
unlocked. I
that
think it's unlocked actually.
what is that master, legendary, whatever the ultra high graphics, right? Like
Mhm.
what does that computer look like? And I challenge it to be, sure it's going to be better than the Xbox One X, but how much? Like uh, I don't know. I mean, the
Well,
Xbox One X has quite a lot of GPU power. You're right. It is faster CPU wise, but the GPU power is
yeah.
much greater than the PS4 Pro.
I believe the CPU inside the Xbox One X is better because it's an AMD CPU. I do believe it is actually better than the FX 8320 that I have in my machine right now. But I can run that game at an unlocked frames per second. So I call
Right.
bullcrap.
Yeah.
I mean, I just call bullcrap. And I mean, they just announced that I finally get my content from 20 that I paid for in 2015 this this fall. Finally, I get it. I'm very excited to go out there and play it, but I can't play it because there's another expansion that I have to buy if I wanted to play the game that nobody's going to be playing because Destiny 2 is going to be out. Um, but yeah, I don't believe that. And my thing is for Sony to do something like that is just shows that they are absolutely terrified. Um, they are afraid of the Xbox One X. Now, I'm not for this place one, this place one. I mean, if you have to pick a winner, okay, PlayStation 4 one. I guess because it doesn't do anything to me. It's so be it. That's the thing. But when I hear things and people like on IGN and talks about like cross game play for Minecraft and for Rocket League and Nintendo is doing it with Microsoft and PC, like you can play on those, but Sony's not. And the comment that I always hear is, well, they're in the lead, so what, they don't have to. The lead for what? That really aggravates me because we as gamers have caused a company not to care about us because we went and bought their console. Just because they've sold more consoles, they don't have to do anything to benefit us. And we're okay with it. And that drives me nuts. It just drives me crazy.
Well, the
Um,
latest excuse for the crossplay stuff is we care about the security of our users.
oh,
That's yeah, that's the latest that I've heard.
yeah.
He said that maybe last week or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, we heard that. Hey, did
like,
your did your free subscription of the identity theft did it expire from
right,
when Sony's got
yeah.
hacked? Okay, I just wonder if yours expired. Mine expired, even though I still get notifications. But I did get a free year of that because all of our information was hacked when they were
Right.
protecting us.
And it was down for a month. The service, like
Mhm.
as a whole, was down for a
Yeah,
month.
but I mean, and people were saying like, well, Microsoft wouldn't do it if they were in the lead. And honestly, under the old head of Xbox, yes, I would say that's true. But under this current head of Xbox, I would say that is absolutely false. Phil
Yeah, I mean,
Spencer, Phil Spencer is the man. I mean,
he's
he's
all about the games, right? And
yep,
he's all about the gamer too. So,
yeah,
and he's done nothing to disprove that. I mean, it's hard to say if the tables were turned if he'd do the same thing, but I think it's important to just focus on the brand, focus on at the end of the day we're all gamers. Like
right,
just market it as such. Like we I've we've all been just kind of drawn to the Xbox. I know Mark plays everything, right? I
right.
don't have a PS4, and I don't plan to get one, but I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, and probably the same's vice versa, right? So good competition in the industry means that the gamers always win, and unfortunately, it seems in Sony's case, crossplay between PS4 and Xbox would be great. You know, a lot of my friends have PlayStation, and so to be able to play FIFA with them or Rocket League or name it, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like then, but then it doesn't matter which console you buy, and you
Mm,
maybe only buy for the exclusives, right? And Microsoft
that's
then,
true. That would be true right there. Like in my mind, you still, if you want to play every game, you still got to buy both consoles.
right?
But and to me, honestly, I mean, and I've said this before, and I'll say it now. Like, I really don't care about the cross play. Um, I never had issues trying to find somebody to play in Rocket League. It's only a team, like you can only have what, 4-on-4, 4v4. So
Right.
if there's
Yeah, not very many.
30,000 people playing or 10,000 people playing Rocket League, I'm pretty sure I can find 7 other individuals to play a match with. So I'm fine with that. I find plenty of people to play against in games. So the cross-platform thing, that doesn't matter. Now, does it allow me, like, if you bought a PlayStation, I bought an Xbox, and we both like FIFA, to play together? Between friendships and being able to play with my friends, that is something I think Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, that's where they need to look. And they need to say, like, hey, this guy, he prefers our exclusives. This guy prefers these exclusives. But they both like FIFA, which is a third-party game. Let them play together. There's nothing wrong with that. You are not going to lose sales. Xbox is not going to sell 30 million more consoles because of that. Um, it just, you're doing it to look good because it's the right thing to do, not
Yeah.
no other reason. Um, but
Yep. I agree.
The one thing Sony company has, which I'm surprised about Nintendo, is we do have to remember these are Japanese based companies. They think of things way different than we do. Like, they are all about the business. They are all about the winning. If they don't win, they lose their job. They're very, into that type of mentality in my mind. So, um, but yeah. So what'd you think about the Xbox One X? What'd you think about E3 in general? I guess let me ask you that.
I I don't know. To me, like, there's been way too many E3s where you see, you just see a lot of stuff that you're just not gonna see until, who knows when, like 2017 come and gone for Cuphead, or 2016 came and gone for Cuphead, and then now they show it again. So sometimes I've gotten a little bit jaded at this point,
Mhm.
and so I'm like, well, when is this game gonna come out, right?
September.
And so Cuphead, yay, September,
Yep.
woo, finally, and it's Play Anywhere, as someone mentioned in the chat. I'm really excited to test out my Surface with it as well as play it on my Xbox. But I can't say that I'm like got really excited about anybody's press conference.
Yeah.
Evidently, Microsoft showed more games than they ever had, or more games than they did last year, and then more games than anybody else, and so that was neat. Um, there's not something that really drew to me. I'm a sucker, right? Like, I'm all in on Microsoft, and so I'll get the Xbox One X. It's not gonna be a problem. I do have a 4K TV, and so I'm interested to see where what the difference is, because now I'll have all three, and so I can potentially play the same game and just see. Like, I'm kind of skeptical. Can I really tell the difference between? Um, I know everyone says you can, but just want to see it for myself, type of thing. But um, what Nintendo's doing with the Switch is really cool. Being able to play Rocket League with someone on the Switch, like, will I ever do it? I don't know. I mean, but I have a couple friends that play the Switch, and so having that option is very cool. And I completely agree with you that there's no real problem finding matches,
Right.
um, but I don't know. Like, nothing really stood out to me other than the Xbox One X, and I know it's been what are they doing in the marketing department? Like, can we can we not name something that makes sense? Like you've got the Surface,
They should have
which
just
is
called it.
which is three different things, and then you've got the Xbox One S, and then the Xbox One X and I
Yeah.
almost said S interchange. Like,
Mhm.
can we have a talk?
They should have
Because
just called it. They should just call it. This was their chance. They could have done it last time, but this was their chance again just to call it the Xbox, in my opinion. Just call it the Xbox. That's what it
that's
is.
what they did with the Surface,
Yeah.
right? They rebranded the latest Surface Pro to just be. It is now, the Surface Pro. They're
Yeah.
taking a page out of Apple, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like,
every iteration is a new MacBook.
yeah. So with PlayStation though, like, I can say PlayStation, but their naming convention, like PS4, PS5, like it rolls off the tongue real nice. Like they have a great naming convention. Microsoft kind of screwed it up when they did the 360 because they couldn't do Xbox Two.
Right.
But we could be in this position where we could be saying, oh, it's the X1, X2, X3, X4, X5, but they decided
Sure.
not to do that. Um, if they really wanted to, they should have just skipped it. But then it's like, oh, I got the X2S and the X3 and the X3S and the X3X. Even that sounds better than Xbox One X in my opinion, but still, they had their chance to kind of correct it. But I agree with you. It's like, come on, Windows
Yeah.
10. It's the funny thing about Windows 10, and
It's the ninth one.
yeah, it's the ninth one, but you can't use Windows 98 because in certain code you had Windows like starts with Windows 9, which stood for 95, 98, 98 SE. Like so
Legacy code.
you couldn't do a starts with Windows 9 because that would pull all 95, 98 and stuff like that. So they had to jump to
Right.
10. That's a rumor, but I could see it being true because
That
yep,
makes perfect sense. I've
makes
never heard that, but
it
yeah,
makes sense to me. So
I'm sure there's code out there that does. Yep.
yeah,
That makes sense.
there's actually screenshots of like some of the code that actually does like it starts with an if statement or like a select statement, um, or a case statement. But yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah. In
So
our line of work, we're really looking for browsers, right? So renaming to Edge. We'll see what the next version of Edge looks like, but
yeah,
looking for user agents. That's the big thing right now.
but all
In
right.
general, though, like I don't really know anything about what Nintendo showed, and then I heard PlayStation's was kind of so.
Well, a new Mario game for Nintendo. It won Game of the Show. I mean, everybody kind of passed out, I think, in their chairs when they saw that there was a new Mario, which looks similar to the previous Mario. But it's Mario. I mean,
Right,
most of these
right.
people that are at the conventions are our ages, right? So they grew up on Nintendo. They grew up on Mario. So Mario is always close in my mind. Is always like right there with somebody. It brings you back to your childhood, and Mario games are always awesome. They're well built games. So,
I
um,
just don't know how the one that won Best in Show is that the 2D 3D like switch from a 2D platformer to like a 3D open world. Is that what you're talking about?
um,
Or is it the Super like Mario World one?
it's the Mario World one.
Okay.
So
Because they showed off this weird like 2D 3D switch. Like some parts were 3D, some parts were 2D.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. And then they've got the crossover, right? Mario in in Rabbids. That's what it is. That Ubisoft title. Rabbids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mario Rabbids, I think.
Yeah. Meh.
So, but yeah, Sony's. We are. If you haven't listened to the show in a while, I we kind of said like, they do have to kind of revisit a number of the games that they have announced the past couple of years because it seems
Yeah,
like
they're the
Sony's
worst
always
offenders.
released far out.
Right.
So they did that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's good for all the companies to be on this 18-month, E3 cycle. Like you don't, to me, and we've always said is like you should show me anything between this E3 and next E3. Like show me the stuff that's releasing from now until next E3, because then in the next
Correct.
E3 you could show me what's releasing from that E3 on. If you want to stretch out a little bit, I don't think there's anything going into the next fall of like, here's just a quick trailer of something you could look forward to seeing next E3.
Right.
But the ones where it's just like, we showed you Death Stranding, that's 2021 or 2020. Like that thing's still 3 years out probably. That stuff there I think's got to stop, and Sony put themselves in a position now from here on out to bring their games and release dates and stuff into a closer pattern like Microsoft has done the last 3 years. So, but yeah, so all right. So you're definitely
Completely
getting an
agree.
Xbox One, huh? Xbox One X.
Yeah, Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I'm surprised the pre-orders haven't gone up. At least I haven't got a notification for one.
they when
On
what was it?
on
I think it
Amazon.
was I think it was IGN. They have to get approval first from the whatever it is that does all the ratings and stuff.
Mm,
FCC. They have to get FCC approval.
got it.
And people were kind of speculating that maybe they didn't do that right away because they didn't want to give everything away.
Yeah, makes
But
sense.
and I listened to Rebel FM yesterday and today, and they kind of hit on that $4.99 price point. They're not saying that what you're getting isn't worth $4.99, but they feel like they're just revisiting the same mistake they made when Xbox One was released, which was $4.99. Nobody wanted it then, so why is anybody going to want it now? Um, they've already said that they're not going to be making money off the Xbox One X at $4.99.
Yeah,
So
they
people
never
are
do.
just like, why not make it $3.99? They're just like, we know it's just $100. This was what they were saying. Just because yes, it's just $100, but it's a psychological, mental thing. It's $100. It's half a grand, or it's $3.99.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, so it's kind of one of those things. But um,
It'll be
I was
interesting.
hoping I guessed $3.99. Mark and Rob both guessed $4.99. Of course, they were
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Um, but for a year I've been saying $2.99, and they're just like, "Bro, you're full of crap." And I mean, I knew what I was saying was absolutely going to be wrong, but it's one of those things. Like, could you imagine if it was $2.99? Can you
Right.
imagine what people would be saying right now if it was $2.99? Like,
Well,
people,
I feel like we've had this conversation. This is like I'm having a bit of deja vu, right? Like every single time Microsoft releases something, imagine if they used their capital and just flooded the
right?
market with this really cheap device and took over market cap, like,
Yeah.
this Windows Phone that I'm about ready to get rid of. Like same,
Yeah.
Windows Phone, you've got the Surface, if I can show, like, like we've been wanting Microsoft to just use their money and just take over the market, and they could have, again, they could have done it, but somebody somewhere said that that was a bad idea. So,
Yeah, well, you
here
can't
it
you
is.
can't bankrupt yourself. You
No,
can't destroy Xbox as a brand just to try, like we were saying earlier, to win something. Like, don't try. Who cares about winning? Winning
right.
something. Like, who cares about winning? You know, when all said and done, 2 years from now, when or 2 or 3 years from now, when PS5 is coming out and whatever the next Xbox is, it's probably going to be called the Xbox
One
One
X
Two
one.
FGX 370
Yeah.
920, whatever they're going to call it. Uh, we'll look back and be like, oh, now we're starting at one. We're starting at one. Oh, we're at 1 million. Oh, we're at 1 million. It's going to be like, what do you mean start? If you can start over, is there really anything to win or lose or whatever? But so and like I said, the price things that we've already had our price discussion. I'm just saying what I've heard recently on Rebel FM, because I really do like to hear those guys. But of course, they're all saying, "Well, I'm going to go buy one. I'm going to go buy one. I'm going to go buy one." Um, they're all buying one. It's just being that way. So
It'll be interesting, if they, like, they've got us hook, line, and sinker, right? Like they know their core fans are going to be educated, we live and breathe Xbox news,
Mhm.
and so we're gonna know that the CPU difference between the 360 and the One X is 25 times greater, and we'll be able to make an informed decision. But it will be very interesting
Yeah.
come Christmas time when, these parents are coming in and trying to keep up with the latest information and they're not as savvy. Is this Xbox One X going to be marketed as such that it is a premium console? It
No,
is.
they've already kind of stated, and Phil Spencer's kind of already stated, like they are going to sell more S's than X's because the S will be
Right.
$299. That is their go-to box, and to like you said, like they're not going to go take over the lead, whatever that made-up war thing is. It's 30 million to 65 million. You know,
Right.
and to me, I'm glad we're at 30 million because we get an Xbox One X, we get cross-platform play, we
Yeah.
get
I mean,
all of the we get the stuff
that's
because
competition.
they kind of got their butt handed to them a little bit. They're too big for their britches, and they got their butt handed to them. Because if everybody remembers the generation before, you had a $600 PS3,
Right.
and Sony got their butt handed to them. And what did they do? They made the PS4,
Right.
phenomenal machine, right? And look what it's doing. And now look what they're doing. Oh, we don't have to. We're in the lead. We don't have to. We're in the lead. Well, guess what? You're going to get your butt handed to you again. May not be now, but it's definitely going to be coming later. So it's circle. It's just full circle all the time.
Right.
So, but
It'll be interesting too to me is I hope that we don't look back on some of these games and say like, well, how many games are actually going to get 4K assets? How many games are actually going to run at 60 FPS on our Xbox One S? Is it going to be worth it? And a
yes.
majority of the games I feel maybe not. I know all the first party stuff is, I'm sure, will get the love, but do we know for sure that a lot of these cross-platform are gonna get these upgrades? Maybe not.
Well, I
It'll be
mean,
interesting to see.
we know one game that's not.
Well, right. And so how many other games are either like that or they don't, and speaking just from a cost benefit analysis is, am I going to target a very small percent of gamers and give them the 4K content? Or am I going to appease just hit the widest audience with as little effort as possible?
Well, I think every game that's going to be coming out for Xbox is going to have the 4K assets. Um, because they'll figure it out. Because like I said, the super sampling for Xbox One X, but I know what you're saying. It's like developing for lowest common denominator. Like for the last generation, the lowest common denominator was the 360. The PS3
Right.
was actually a more powerful machine.
Right.
I guess and the PS4 was supposed to be is also what they said, more powerful than the Xbox One. But now what we're saying is, will everybody code to the PS4 Pro instead of the Xbox One X? I don't know. I mean, it depends
The
how
good news
much.
is that there's the PC, right? And
Yeah,
so that's the good news, is the PC's got all this already. So is it really extra work to bundle those 4K assets for the
no,
Xbox One X? I don't think so.
no,
Question is, will people do it,
yeah,
right? Like, is it that much much more work to compile a Windows Phone game and make it play anywhere? I don't think so. I think it's checking a box.
yeah.
But you still got to go through all the process to upload it to the Windows Store, and here we are with a garbage phone that has 0 apps.
All right.
When there's better apps on the Windows Store and on the Xbox App Store, and yet I get nothing on this thing. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, and
we'll see.
the other way I kind of look at it is, if you go and watch a movie, they are not filming movies for 1080p. They film movies at the highest quality they can film them at, which is 4K.
Right.
Um, and then they, shrink that down to 1080.
Whatever your yeah,
Yeah,
whatever your
so
screen is.
I would agree. Like even probably today, the games we see on Xbox One now have higher quality assets than 1080. They just render them to 1080. So now they'll just render them at 4K. You know, they'll build them up to 4K. They'll render them twice. So I mean, that's what I was saying earlier about the super sampling. They're not making two images. They're making one and shrinking it down to what they
Right.
want it to be. So,
Right.
but all right, cool. Well, I think that pretty much wraps everything up. Let me hit the community real quick. So
Okay.
send us a voicemail. Go to thisxboxlife.com and click send voicemail on the right hand side. You can send it through there, and we get it usually capped out. I think at like a minute. Or you can record your voice on something like a Surface Pro, like Kyle has, and you can email it to us contact@thisxboxlife.com. If you go to the website, you can also click on contact and fill out the form, and that will send it to us as well. Twitter.com or thisxboxlife.com/Twitter. Thisxboxlife.com/Facebook will get you to our Facebook group. Closed group, but I mean, we've had another large group of requests this week, which is nice. Our thing is we're well over 400. I think Mark might have to look. He's in the chat right now. But yeah, so go there. This week in gaming releases, it looks like. Let me run through these real fast. The Golf Club 2 is June 27th. Final Fantasy 15 episode Prompto, I'm assuming I'm saying that right, is June 27th. Valkyrie Revolution is June 27th. Pui is June 28th. Crazy Strike Bowling EX is June 28th. Marvel Heroes Omega is June 30th. Ghost of a Tale is game preview, which starts on June 30th. What is that one? Aerie? What? June 30th, and Goliath is June 30th. AEREA. I don't know.
New to me.
Yeah. So that's those. I did see some rumors of what Games for Gold was going to be, but they are rumors, so I'm just going to wait for them to be official. But right now, you have speedrunners from 6:1 to 6:30. Watch Dogs is your 6:16 to 7:15. And on Xbox 360, you have Dragon Age Origins for the remainder of the month. And also, Phantom Dust is still running that DLC to the end of the month. For anybody that shops on Amazon, if you go to thisxboxlife.com, click on Amazon, it'll send you to your local Amazon store. And anything you purchase on there at that point in time after you click our link, it sends us a little portion of that money. So nothing costs you. They just help us out. Just kind of remember that it does refresh, every so often. So, always go through our site. There is actually thisxboxlife.com/Amazon. And if you're in the US, it's kind of a quick link to that as well. So I think that wraps up everything. Anything else you want to chat about before we head off, or?
One thing I haven't mentioned at this point that I've been addicted to, I forgot to mention it earlier, is Clicker Heroes. Have you gone into the depths of Clicker Heroes?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, it's not. I wouldn't say it would be your style, but it's a free game, and it's my like prototypical game because it's like a huge grind, but there's very little effort that you have to put into it. So it's a perfect like, I'm doing something else. Let me just check back in on it real quick. Click a couple times. They market it as an idle RPG, and you basically just like hire monsters or hire heroes to kill monsters, and you get coin, and then you rinse repeat. I don't know why it's addicting, but it is. And so just a shout out to Clicker Heroes. It's a very complex game, surprisingly. So that might be some of the draw. A lot of math and optimal calculations on who to hire when and all that stuff. But it's free, so might as well give it a shot.
Hmm.
And just a special shout out to Clicker Heroes.
All right.
But no, that's it. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I've
Cool.
enjoyed my time. I
Yes.
wish the whole crew was here to show this shirt again. I guess Mark will probably see it, but we're missing these two people.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think is it so maybe I'm sure they'll be back next week, right?
Well, Mark, I think, is pushing for a couple weeks.
Oh,
Rob should definitely be back. Be back next week.
I mean he should be able to take his kid's computer, right? Just that's how it works, right?
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, we have to have usually one person one person host while the other guys kind of hang out. But
Right.
and I've been doing a good bit of the hosting part of it because I always like to poke new things in there and try them out. So, and then
Right.
once it's stable, I can pass it down to those guys. But I always seem to be
Right.
flipping things over and changing things on them.
Typical dev mentality.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it. But
Yeah.
cool.
All
Well,
right.
with that said, we can sign off here, and everybody, we will be back next week. And good luck on your achievement hunting and your
Thank you.
contest that you're doing. And
Yeah.
just remember, if you ever get tricked into talking about achievement games with your family and stuff around, it's probably because they're pulling you into a room for intervention.
And so run the opposite way, like
Yeah,
exit
yeah,
stage left. All right.
yeah. So
I do have a problem. I just don't want to do anything about it at the
yeah. Well, I guess you could be way worse things than
moment.
a gaming addiction, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's how I look at it, at least.
right. So, all right
All
then.
right. Well, it's
Well,
been fun.
everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Yep, I'm Brun BJ Swick 33.
And I'm Kyle, aka Marana Cow.
Have a good one.